evil! So then, here we are at last, the DK Vine Hall of Fame's #1 inductee, as presented by me, Helmost the Dreadfully Evil, voted Hello Magazine's #1 sexiest necromancer of 2015, and now myself the most recent inductee in the Necromancy Hall of Fame. I shouldn't really use these videos for gratuitous self-promotion, but if the steadily decreasing viewership in this series is anything to go by, I don't think anyone's going to notice. Anyway, so, who's won this thing? Why, it's none other than Conker the Squirrel, from off of Diddy Kong Racing.
If Conker's inauguration at the #1 spot is any indication of the kinds of people who vote in these things, then the average DK Vine reader in 2015 is presumably a disillusioned, bitter, functional alcoholic, with a penchant for decadence, debauchery, and another thing beginning with D. Defecating? Yeah, probably defecating. Well, in Conker's case, as with our readership, what's not to like? And anyway, Conker represents one of the more marked examples of character development across games in the DKU. No, it's true, stick with me on this one. This isn't just Wrinkly Kong being a ghost or Tiny Kong becoming utterly fucking horrifying. No, when we first met the young squirrely fellow in 1997's Diddy Kong Racing and subsequently in the universally adored Conker's Pocket Tales, it was a simpler time. A time when talking like a Dickensian chimney sweep was all the rage.
I'm Conker!
A time when scarecrows were adorable and trees had confused gormless faces. A time when the only things to really worry about were terrifying talking acorn men and giant pig genies from space. I worry about those things a lot too. But fast forward 4 years and that cheerful, high-pitched yelping urchin has experienced an unprecedented downward spiral. Conker grew up. Now, as far as I'm concerned, growing up means 3 things. Number 1, fierce rejection of everything you once loved as a child. Number 2, crippling self-destructive alcoholism. And number 3, a total loss of bladder control. But how did this happen? And why did you guys vote Conker in above all others? Well, it helps that Bad Fur Day on the N64 was the phenomenal technical achievement that it is, not unlike my own extensive array of bondage equipment. But never mind about that. Its innovative platform game turned interactive movie format lent itself well to an adventure driven not just by platforming about to attain various baubles, though there is a bit of that, but by the character interactions themselves that we'd see acted out, fully voiced throughout. By the end, we've seen Conker scramble through all manner of hell, desperately trying to find sanity in a world full of hostile idiots.
Why is it everybody so offensive around here?
He's a victim of circumstance, albeit the circumstance of getting utterly leathered and waking up in a wood. Which is normal! Shut up! Consequently, his grief at the loss of girlfriend Berry has some actual resonance, paying off all the legwork done in getting you to know the character. It's kind of like a redemption or something. Well, I say redemption, he did sacrifice a baby at one point. No, seriously, you've literally voted in a baby killer. And I'm not talking about that Obama. Am I right? Obama bin Laden, I call him. Is this thing on? Sorry, I don't know what came over me there. Anyway, for years Conker fans were a dying breed, with his only major return appearance being in Conker Live and Reloaded in 2005, a port of Bad Fur Day with all the swearing and wanking scenes taken out. I might have just imagined the wanking scenes. But with his grand comeback in Conker's Big Reunion Episode 1 earlier in this year, and, more importantly, the fact that some idiots on the internet voted him #1 in a poll, I think it's abundantly clear that Conker's back on top! So, well done him! Congrats, Conks, you can keep the $5.
That about wraps it up for this year's Hall of Fame. Happy now? Good! Now, let's take one last gawp at the 2015 inductees, shall we? And remember, if you didn't vote, this is your fault for not voting. And if you did vote, then this is your fault for voting the way that you did. Stay tuned for next year, when no doubt we'll be inducting some even more bizarrely inexplicable characters. And possibly even Donkey Kong. I wouldn't get your hopes up there, though. The Hall of Fame is no place for characters that are actually famous. All right, clear off. I've got an appointment to get my nails done. I'm surprisingly self-conscious.